Welcome, everybody, to what I hope will be a new series that somebody will catch some nostalgia or even rediscover for the first time. This wonderful game called Liberty or Death. Playing Ultimate General American Revolution has made me want to dig it out and play it again. So if you've not seen this game before or heard of it before, it is an old Super Nintendo game. And it was a fantastic game. Me and my buddies played this all the time growing up, and we still break it out and play it every once in a while. And this one is full of real officers. Their stats may be a little off, but it's a brilliant game. And so I wanted to show it and introduce it. I don't want the music to be too loud because you'll see that it kind of can get repetitive, but at the same time, it's kind of nice. So I don't know how much you'll hear and if you'll want to hear it, but I may be doing you a favor. We're going to play this from the British side because I have played this so many times. I can win too easily with the Americans, even whenever I set myself restrictions. So I could be George Washington and the Americans, but I'm going to be Thomas Gage and the British. And Thomas Gage is one of the worst officers in the game. And you lose the game if you either get voted out by losing a vote of no confidence, or if your officer is captured or killed in battle. So we will not be doing any fighting with Thomas Gage if we can avoid it. We are going to take him, though. See, his leadership is horrible. His reputation is horrible, which means he can't recruit anybody to be on his side. Tactics, he can't do anything in the field. His discipline, he can't train up his men. But hey, he was stationed in America since the outbreak of the French and Indian War. Commander-in-Chief of British North American forces for 12 years. We will be Thomas Gage. So we are going to change this to fast wait time game level. We are going to turn it to the hardest level we can, which is hard. We will not be viewing battles that our militia is taking part in. Only ones that we are going to be fighting in. We will view the animations. That's not really much. We are going to leave advice. What they do is they say, hey, I hear that so-and-so is weakened. Should we go attack? Don't have to take it if we don't want to, but it's kind of nice to have that as an option. So our goal is to win this on hard. There will be some jumping around, so you don't see a lot of the minutia, but I want to introduce this game. It's a brilliant strategy game, simple but brilliant. It taught me a lot about officers, or what made me want to learn more about officers in the American Revolution. And we lost many an hour to this, so the graphics aren't much to look at, but it's just got a soft spot in my heart. So every quarter, you will meet with either Congress, the Continental Congress if you're Americans, or with Parliament if you're the British. And you start the game off doing so. So we are in summer here at House of Commons. So July is the first one. Lord North is who we're talking to. 1775. Now we do have quite a bit of money, way more than the Continentals will have. But one thing that the Continentals have that the British do not have is the Continentals have so many better officers. So many better. The British struggle to have really high quality officers to fight with, while you will run up against people like Nathaniel Greene, William Thompson, Robert Montgomery. You have all of these, Daniel Morgan, so many fantastic officers in the American Army, while you really have just like 5 really good ones for the British. Clinton, William Howe, Guy Carleton, Knopfheisen. I don't know. Maybe I've only got 4. We'll find out. There's a few others that are serviceable, but we've got money to work with. We will use it wisely. And now we can ask for help from the Lord of the Admiralty, Lord Sandwich. We'll go with him first. And what we are wanting on this as the British, you got to get out of Boston. So we're choosing transport. Now, Command of the Sea lets you pick one of the regions, north, central, or south, to try to command and to try to block off and get trade. We want transport. So we're going to choose to transport from Boston. So they will have a fleet to either help defend or that we can move out of there. And early on, the Americans have no fleet. They have to build from the ground up, and it takes a while. So now from the Secretary of War, we can ask, where do we want to get more regiments? Now, what I like to do with the British is there are dangerous ones in the South, some militia, like Francis Marion especially, that will come up in the South and really struggle. So I like to try to gain a foothold in the South where they don't have any real strong units outside of him and like John Lawrence and a couple others, if we can take the South quick, which we have some units in Florida, that is a strong base. The British in real life did the Southern strategy later on, where they tried to do that very thing, work from the south up, because that was where a lot of loyalist sympathies were. So we're going to try that same strategy while we hold in the north to start, because we will have enough that we can defend and we can hold and we can play this right. But if we can get a base in the south that gets us to get more support, the more territory we occupy with higher support, the more money we bring in each time as well. So that will also distract them, hopefully, to move south as well. So I'm going to start with the south. We get 3 royal regiments. We are going to pay the officers their normal salary. Later on, as we make more money, I like to raise that so the morale goes up a little bit, but we can't afford to do that at the moment. We will maybe spend more funds on a fleet. We already are doing pretty well. Let's go ahead and get this one up to 50. We're not going to spend too much money here. We are going to hire mercenaries. So these are Hessians. And if you know your American Revolution, the Hessians did send, this is from Hesse in the German states, it wasn't Germany at the time. They did send mercenaries. The German states, a lot of them would hire out mercenaries in wars. So we can get, I think, around 20 maybe that we're able to hire. So we're going to get them early. They will join us in the south as well. That will give us a nice basis to try to run the south and build up a foothold in this and really strengthen us. We are going to give 1,200 to regiments to you. Now let's do 1,500. We weren't going to get a ton of money next time because we're going to probably not have a lot of states completely held. So that's where we do this every quarter: July, October, January, and April. So now we get to see who commands the seas. Thankfully, we control the New England colonies, which means if we choose to, we can transport out of Boston without fear of us getting hit and having to go back to where we came from. So that is a very good sign. Somehow the Americans get the central one. We don't really worry about that because we're not planning on going to Philadelphia yet at this time anyways. We could strike there, but I don't want to split my army too much. Southern seas, free of control. That's fine. Now we go through step by step and we try to see what is where we are building up. So St. Augustine. Now I want to go ahead and start. No, I do not want to do that. Nope. There we go. So I wanted to show you, this is where we have, and you can see we start with units in Florida. They've only got a little bit here. Now the green is militia. Solid red in this game are royal regiments. Green would be our American, the Patriot militia. The checkered are loyalist militia. And then the solid blue, which we see up here in New England, that is your Continentals. You can recruit militia so you have direct control over them. Because what will happen otherwise is the militia just do their own thing unless you have a senior officer in charge of them, or you can pay to recruit them if you can get their loyalty up. So we don't have anybody in the central. We could have kind of tried to land there and really box them in, but I really like building. If we get in trouble, we can move these guys out. My goal is to leave Boston eventually to fortify Canada. After we get a foothold in the south, in the second round of regiments, we will either bring those with the more Hessian mercenaries either to the north or to the central, and maybe we'll have 3 solid armies that can hit and strike and keep the Americans busy. So you will see these solid dark lines as well. Those differentiate the states. If you control every region in a state, you get a bonus to the income that the state provides. So it's very important to get that income bonus as well. And, oh, that's not what I wanted. Now this gives you an overview map where you can see real quickly. We won't use this map very often. We can also see something else is important in the info section. You need to keep an eye on the government support that you have. So the higher the support means you won't get a vote of no confidence. So everybody here, all the royal governors like me, except for Massachusetts, Thomas Hutchinson, that's understandable. In Parliament, they can be kind of fickle. Everybody likes me at the moment. That's good. You can check your economy. So our income next time will be 4,100, which is pretty solid. I like that. That's not bad. Then you can also check through your info the states levels, which shows you how much income. So Florida right now will give us 156 income. You'll notice there is average support. As we increase the average support, that income goes up. But Florida's not going to get us as much as, say, Georgia will, which already has given us 82 if you don't control any of those districts. So you want to get support up and control a whole state. So Canada, 520 with 62 average support. That's somewhere we can make quite a bit of money. Massachusetts is as well, if we could get any support up there. But you can see they are shaded green, so they already lean towards the Americans. It's a big money maker if you can capitalize as the Americans. All right, so what you can do and what you need to know for this game. We'll just take a close look at this one, and then I'm not going to play through every single one of these territories because they can get a little monotonous to see, I understand, but I want you to see, if you've never played the game, how it works. So we have Prevost and Rawdon, and what you have. So on this screen here, we see body. The body is how much they can do. That'll get depleted as you do actions on the turn. It will go up as you rest. And in between each turn, they gain a little bit back. The second column there is loyalty. Higher loyalty means they're less likely to run away, and they are less likely to be bribed to maybe join the other side. And then reputation is good for things because it can bring in higher recruit numbers. It can bring in more prominence when you're trying to gain support as well. So that's going to be something important that we need. Here we see the training of the men. We see the arms, which is how many men percentage-wise are armed. 80 is a good number. If you can get up to 100, great, but that's hard to keep. If you get 80 or above, you're doing really well. Then the last one there is morale. You want high morale, your men will fight better with all of those stats. Now we see the qualities of the general or the officer. Here there are two colonels. Leadership, tactics, and discipline. Leadership and tactics are important for the battlefield. All of these are actually. But the discipline is going to be the one that helps train the men faster. So Prevost is fantastic. Rawdon, not so much. And Prevost is also and here we get to see what type of unit they have and if they have a cannon or a boat. So Rawdon is infantry. The max for an infantry regiment is 500. Prevost is cavalry. You can also have artillery and guerrilla. All three of those, maximum 250 men. Now, the options you can do in this that you will see me do at times, we can do a parade to gain support, a gazette where we spend 100 gold to gain support. We can send supplies, we can borrow supplies, we can buy materials, build cannons, we can recruit officers that are militia nearby, we can get bonuses, furloughs, so troops can increase their morale and we can increase the loyalty of an officer. You can try to bribe a foreign officer to join you. You can move your men. You can draft more men. You can reform where you send them away and they come back at full strength. You can drill to increase the training. You can go to battle as well. All of this takes body. As we go and as I do different things, I'll tell you what that is so you can pick up on that. Now, the other screen that we see underneath Prevost, which shows us a district, starting in the left column, the top shows us the number of men. The second row in the column shows us how many regiments there are. And the bottom left shows us the support of the region. The top right in that right column shows us how much money they have. Then you have food, which you always want to make sure you have more food than you have men. And then it's powder. It's also good to have more gunpowder than you have men as well. So what we are going to do here, we're going to go ahead and start to expand to try to get into Georgia quickly because I know that we're going to be in good shape. In Florida, we don't need to really worry about, there won't be any militia popping up behind us in Florida. And now it takes 40 body to train, 30 to move. So I'm going to train both of these guys first because I don't know if the Georgia, it's always random which districts go when. So I don't know if 49 has already gone or if it will. So I want them to be trained once and then I'm going to move them. Now, typically I will always leave one unit behind. This time, because I said I don't need to worry about Florida being lost to anything, I don't want to be attacked over here. I'm going to bring everything with me moving up into Georgia. When we get those regiments in the south, we can send our weakest ones back to where we have our open spots. So I'm going to go do a few moves, and then when we get up to the north, that's where the drama will really happen, and I'll show you some of our better officers. All right, so now this is where we get to our best officers. Montreal has one of the best, probably the best in the game for the British, Guy Carleton. He is our guy. Let's go ahead. We're going to be drilling with him anyway, so let's go ahead and look at the stats that we have. And John Andre is great as well. Now, their arms are good. The British do start with more weapons. Training needs to get up there, but Carleton can hold off so many, because what we will see, look at this. Leadership 94, tactics 95, 99. I mean, this is fantastic. 90 discipline. He can train his men up. And Andre's fantastic as well. His tactics are lacking, but he can get his training up there quickly. So we are going to train both of these men. Now, one thing that we could look to do, and again, because I played this game so much, I do know, although I think he's in charge, so you can't bribe an officer who's in charge. Like, so Guy Carleton cannot be bribed, but John Andre could. Benedict Arnold is in, oops, wrong button. He is in Ticonderoga, number 13, to the south of Montreal. And so it is kind of enticing to potentially try to bribe him, because his loyalty isn't the strongest. And that's something we will work on later. With the British in the north, we're going to try to weaken and bribe some officers away early on and try to weaken the Continentals while at the same time strengthening us. And hopefully with Boston, we can do so before they attack us. All right, so this is what we do with Boston. And let's hope it works. We are going to send out some spies, and we are going to spy on Springfield, because this is where they have everybody. We have to do a good job here. So I send a capable officer. Now look at what we do have already in Boston. Is we have Henry Clinton and we have William Howe. These are the other two top guys. Clinton might even be a little bit better than Carleton. He just doesn't have quite the discipline. He's maxed out on 99 is the highest you can get. I don't know how, is this Pidgeot? I say Pidgeot, so we'll go with that. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's a solid one. Mackenzie is also a solid one. Everybody else is really not that good. So I'm going to send Mackenzie because he's capable, and I send him, and I'm going to send 100 because I need to get all of the information about this district in order to bribe some of the officers in it. So let's hope we do so. We've gained secrets to the enemy. We need to get the, okay, we got officers. So what this shows us, we see the food's not there, but they have enough money to get that. They have 11 officers. You can only attack with 8, but you can call in support from 2 other places that can send, I believe, up to 6 supporting units. But when you defend, you can defend with all 11. But what we want to see, and what we are going to do here, is we are going to look at the officers' loyalty. Now, if you'll notice, let's start by taking a look at how their officers are. Washington, fantastic leadership and discipline, not so good tactics. I love that because that is pretty accurate. Now, Horatio Gates, the hero of Saratoga, is a monster at this game. Even though he fails later on in the South, he gets the benefit of the doubt for the beginning. John Thomas is another one. Artemus Ward is another solid one. Look at these guys. They train up so quickly as well. Israel Putnam from Bunker Hill is there. Charles Lee, the British general he was British, but he fights for the Americans. He wanted to become the commander-in-chief instead of Washington. Loses at Monmouth, though. Not the best as far as discipline, but he's capable field officer. William Washington, one of the best cavalry officers in the game. Henry Knox, one of the best artillery officers. Cadwalader is even solid. Tillman is amazing at training. So they have everything you could need. But what we are looking at is loyalty. So Mason is an artillery guy. He's worthless, but when the artillery with a gun, with a cannon, it's very helpful. So Mason we could bribe. We could bribe Charles Lee. But what we want is we want Gates. So we are going to try to bribe Horatio Gates and then book it out of Boston. So here's how this works. And hopefully we can get them. So this is where we go to our personnel and we go to our bribe. You have to have spied on them. That's why Springfield's the only place that I can do this with. And we are going to try to bribe Gates. We are going to use our best guys, not ourselves, because no, we're not that good. So we're going to send Henry Clinton, and we're going to max out this 500. We're not going to worry about money. We have all the supplies we need anyways. We're just going to try to get him. We're not going to get him on this first go, because you have to at least be under 50 loyalty to be able to bribe them over. If they're above 50, you're not going to get them. But what we did is we should have weakened, and we did. Now his loyalty is under 50. The more money you spend, the more it goes down. So we are going to do it one more time. Now we have to be careful on the body. This takes 40 body. We need 30 to be able to move. So now we're going to send Hal. And we're going to see if Hal can win over Mr. Gates. Get him now. That would be nice so we don't have to spend any more money. No! We're spending a lot of money. But he's worth it. Because we take one of their best officers and it gives us an essential officer to really help us out. So now we have to send somebody else who's going to have 30 left over. Oh, we'll send Gage. Now we could risk sitting in Boston for a turn. Oh no, he's still refusing? I thought for sure we were going to get him on that one. It's because no one likes Gage. He's at 31 loyalty. Come on, man. You know you want to come over to this place. You're mad that you got overlooked for the commander-in-chief spot. Come on. Please. Please. No! Oh, this is not good. All right. Well, we're going to be sitting it out in Boston for a turn. I'm not thrilled about that. Because I can't leave anybody behind when we do this. And we just used all our money. But we got him. Woohoo. Ugh. All right. Well, let's drill. What we're going to look for is who has... Okay, so Gates can definitely drill. Fitzwalter can because he'll be back up to 30. Everyone else I don't want to drill because I want them to be able to move next turn. So we'll at least get these two guys up and hopefully we will not get attacked. Hopefully that's enough to be like, hey, don't mess with us. We'll find out though. Charles Cornwallis is another excellent officer up here in the north in Canada. We are going to... We could move out. I think we're going to go ahead and move. Because we're going to be shipping our guys up to Canada. And Burgoyne starts up there as well. Burgoyne, both of these guys are really solid for the British. Cornwallis especially. The cavalry, Burgoyne's very good for cavalry. He's not the strongest tactically, but when you are charging with cavalry, they will crush their enemies. So we're going to go ahead and grab a piece of Massachusetts. Hopefully this will distract the Americans a little bit. Draw some attention away because we'll be able to move back up to Quebec here in a minute with Boston, we hope. Simon Fraser is up here in Three Rivers. He is accompanied with Alexander Leslie. Neither one are great. Fraser's a very serviceable one. They're both infantry regiments. We do need to train Fraser up, though, if he's going to be worth anything. And with that, we're going to do one more drill with Leslie here. He may not be much on the battlefield, but he can at least get his men ready to fight. And we're going to hold on to our money for now because I don't know what we're going to want to do with it. We might send the money to Montreal to try to bribe Arnold. So now we're done with our first playthrough in July of 1775, and now it's getting here to, we still have July 1775 because of Mr. Cornwallis and them. See, I told you, the order that they go, you never know. So let's go ahead and train Cornwallis. We're not going to move any farther south at the moment. This one, sure, we have a piece of Massachusetts. 5, 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are all part of Massachusetts. Don't attack us. Okay, so now we're through July 1st. So now it's going to the July 6th or 16th. There's 2 in each month. Thankfully, we're back to Boston, and we did not have to worry about anything. We are going to move because we can transport our men by sea, and we are going to move up to Montreal because this is going to be where we're going to station our army. And this is where we're going to build up. We're going to fan out from here and be ready to fight, or at least stall until we can take the south. All right, so now we've got Montreal. Now this is where we start to actually build up our forces. So we are going to draft, and we're going to send Gage, because Gage, well, you're never going to actually fight. So we don't even need you to be ready to fight. We're going to use all the money we need to draft all of our men. When you draft, both your arms, because these guys don't have weapons, and the training of a regiment drops down. So if you draft too much, it's going to be a huge hit, and you got to make sure you have the ability to build back up. We're going to buy powder because we don't have enough powder. We will send another person who's not going to be doing much fighting for us. Actually, Asgill is probably going to be moving to go after Quebec. He'll occupy Quebec for us. So let's keep him. Oh, he doesn't have enough body this turn anyway. Oh. All right. We'll use Clinton. We're not buying that much. Let's just buy 2,000. It gives us more powder than we have. Artillery, when you're fired with cannons, that takes up more powder than if you do otherwise. So we've got enough rations. We're not going to buy anything else at the moment because I want to make sure we have money to get our rations up if we need to. So let's train some of these guys. We're going to create a very strong army before we try anything because, again, we are outmanned as far as quality officers go. So we got to be careful as far as that goes. What's going to be next? Oh, and here's our first battle. We will not see this battle, but Albany is taking Fort Stanwix. That's 2 militia. Walter and John Butler are defending that for us. They're both guerrilla units. John Butler was in prison. Walter Butler was in prison. So that's sad. All right, Cornwallis. I don't want to spread out too much here. We could just bottle ourselves up in Canada, but I kind of want to just maybe go after number 1 as well. I don't want them to surround us, but we'll see what we've got here. So we could move up to Quebec here because Leslie's not going to do anything for us. He's worthless. We will make sure he has just enough food because each of your regiments will get more food each time as well and more powder. He'll give him just the powder he needs. We'll send 100 in case he needs to buy anything. But ideally, he's never going to have an issue back there. That's the goal anyways. So we're good there. If they get attacked, we can send support from elsewhere. Now we're down in the south. And we will continue to expand. I moved out last time, both times. So we're going to continue to grow and build and expand. So I'm going to stop this first episode there. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and finish out this first section. We're going to move up to Augusta. We want to box them into South Carolina as much as we possibly can. We are going to have to build a cannon for Dunford, though. Artillery without a cannon is useless. But you need to have special officers. They have to be engineers to be able to do it. So that's the only problem with that. Oh, we need to buy some powder here. So let's get a little bit of powder. We don't need a lot. Just 1,000. When you take over other places, when you defeat enemy armies, you get a lot of their supplies as well, and they will oftentimes have quite a few supplies. So let's see. Are there any? Oh, there no attacks here. That's good. Do we have the ability to build a cannon? We do not. So we can't drill. So we're just going to sit tight. Oh, look, our militia is expanding in North Carolina. That's good news. Now new regiments are arriving. So on the 1st and the 16th, you never know when you may get one. These are going to be militia units. Militia units will show up either in or on the border of the state that they represent. So we are getting some Canadian and New York militias. Here we go. Okay. We're getting some in Maryland. They're not getting that. We're getting some good ones. Okay. We're getting a lot of help. We don't have our regulars yet. It takes a little bit. Oh, these are, so there's 3 guerrilla ones, a cavalry, McPherson's solid, Simcoe, Brant, Johnson, they are all very good. And St. Luke up in Canada for us is already really good. We hit the jackpot as far as the British go in militia units because these are some of the best ones, Brant especially. Problem is we can't get to them to recruit them outside of St. Luke. Now, this is where loyalty comes into play. You need their loyalty up so you can recruit them to your side. So Brant's pain in the butt. You have to give him furloughs and stuff to do that. Luckily, he's a captain, so just having a major in his regiment or in his location would put you in charge to be able to do that. St. Luke, we're going to send him on a furlough, increase that loyalty, recruit him to our side, because otherwise, if he were to be in battle without us having a regiment in charge, he would be doing this stuff himself and running the battle himself, and that can be very frustrating. So we don't want that. So that one turned out very good for us. We don't know what they got yet, where they've expanded to, but we've played through 1 month. We're going to stop there. And what's going to happen is in the next episode, which I hope you'll subscribe to see, I'd like to play through this a little bit. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to not do every single turn, because as we expand and take over more spaces, there's no need to, because most of the back line places will not need to be watched because they're just going to be doing parades and stuff to gain support. But I will do the front lines so that way you can see what's going to maybe be attacking or defending, and we'll definitely show the battles and talk about the strategy. So hopefully you like this one, and you will come back on the next one and see where this goes, this retro revisit. I'm excited to play through some of it, and I hope you will join me in the process.